I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on the Spotlight Network, we're delving into a powerful memoir. It is called Lenin, A Soldier's Story, a story of survival by Lenin Patino. It is an extraordinary account of survival, resilience, and the strength of the human spirit. Shot point blank by a fellow soldier, this author defied all odds, navigating life-threatening injuries and a long journey through the challenges of the veterans' healthcare system. This is a story of hope, bravery, and unwavering determination. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Bookside Press for helping us put him in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below this interview. Lenin, great to see you here today on Spotlight. Thank you for joining me.
Likewise, Logan. Pleasure to be here.
This is such an incredible story. Can you walk us through the events that led up to the shooting all those years ago?
Okay, let me see. I do not recall exactly. From what I've been told, we were talking, right? And he pulled out a gun and he put it to my head and then shot.
Got it. Any idea
That's,
why?
I guess we were young and, and stupid. So,
Yeah. So you might have been arguing about something and he settled it with his gun?
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if we were arguing or we were just playing around
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing.
because
What
I
happened
spoke.
to him? Did he go to
He
jail?
had, huh? Excuse me.
Did
I
he go
couldn't
to
hear you.
jail?
Yeah, he went to jail for a few years and got discharged from the military.
Unbelievable. But your recovery and your journey took more than a few years. Tell us what
Yes.
happened. Tell us what your recovery was like.
Well, it was as expected. It was hell going through it. But it's something, I just had to work a lot and rely on other people a lot. Fortunately, I had the appropriate people in my life always,
Mhm.
therapists, doctors, family that were always supportive of me.
Yeah.
And,
That
one
was
thing led to another. And then, I just went from hospital to hospital for about 2 years.
mm, amazing.
And then, after I got out, it was still, my recovery was not done. As a matter of fact, it's still not done. It's an ongoing thing.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. What was it like dealing with the Veterans Administration?
Oh, it's actually pretty good. They're a little slow and everything, but, they are pretty good about doing everything for the patient, for the veteran.
Yeah,
They're just about a bunch of bureaucracy, so it takes a while.
yeah. When you first got to the hospital, you were unable to move?
Now I was unable to do anything. I was just barely breathing. I couldn't even do that on my own.
Amazing, amazing. What did the doctors tell you?
Now, basically, I told my family, I was going to die at first. And then they said, there was no chance of me having a productive life.
Hmm.
I would never move again. I'd never walk again, never talk again, which I mean, it took a while. I had a tracheotomy in for about 6 months or so.
Yeah,
And, that made it impossible for me to talk.
right.
And eventually, they took it out after trying many ways of communicating with me. At first, my voice was just a whisper,
Yeah.
but eventually, I got stronger with speech therapy.
Hmm. Yeah. Amazing, amazing. What was it like writing this book and kind of reliving this tragedy?
Let me see. I wrote it over a span of years, right? Because I just did not have like the energy or the time to dedicate to it at first. So I started it, and many years later, I tried to pick it up, but it was on a computer file and it got corrupt. So I had to start all over,
Hmm.
which I mean, better yet, I knew it. So, it was not that hard because, it is my story. So, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's just this what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
What was it like for you, witnessing others in the hospital who are also grievously injured?
Well, let me see. I lived on stroke wards, right, with a bunch of older gentlemen and ladies. Most of them were World War II veterans. And I mean, they were mostly stroke victims, so they had similar diseases or conditions to what I had. And I mean, they were always in a good mood, always, they just accepted their life how it was, but so I did not feel like I had the right to complain. that really helped me, because they all had a good sense of humor about it, but I was much younger, so I had much more of a kick to getting back to my normal self.
Yeah.
Had much more motivation. My friends from high school and all that were always visiting me as well. So that really made me more enthusiastic about my recovery.
How old were you when you were shot?
I was 18.
Oh my God.
I
Amazing.
was just a baby. I was basically fresh out of basic training.
Amazing. Amazing. And when was it during your recovery that you finally felt like, hey, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to make this?
Oh, very right from the beginning, I knew I was going to be okay as soon as I regained consciousness. As soon as I was told what had happened to me, I
Hmm.
did not even give it a doubt that I would be okay. I was 18. I didn't really care because
Yeah.
I did not think about it. I cared, but I mean, it's just, when you're 18, you don't really think about it.
Right.
You just do.
Yeah.
And I was in the army, and I was always an athlete. So pushing through difficult situations had always been a part of me.
Hmm. Yeah. And he shot you in the head?
Yeah, point blank.
God. So you suffered significant brain damage, I
Yes, as a matter
imagine,
of fact,
right?
it blew a lot of my brain off. I had to have a surgery because I had like a big soft spot right here where it blew out the skull.
Yeah.
It shattered into a million pieces. So I had to have that repaired before they let me out of the hospital.
Yeah.
So I guess to answer your question, that was when I felt I had I was gonna make it again.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. It's just amazing you survived. You wouldn't think you could get shot point blank in the head.
Yeah, Logan, I'm fortunate, because most people think, recovery is it's all physical. Well,
Yeah.
yes, that's the thing you can see is the physical part. But from my experiences, I know that it's also cognitive and emotional,
Yeah.
because fortunately, I have a very good head on my shoulders. I can think clearly. I am emotionally stable for the most part.
Mhm.
I'm very cognitive, not impaired.
Yeah.
Because most of the patients, if they're stroke victims, they have some cognitive issues.
Right.
And, most of them have speech issues, which I do not have mostly. I have some because I have facial paralysis,
Right.
but I mean, it's not significant enough to where, it stops me from communicating with people.
Right. Right.
I still
Exactly.
cannot walk, cannot move my left side pretty much at all. As a matter of fact, a couple of years ago or a few years ago, I fell and I broke my hip
Hmm.
just because of the lack of balance, lack of strength in my left leg. And I mean, that injury was probably worse than getting shot, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Because the way I see it, when I got shot, like I told you, I was 18. I didn't have a care in the world except getting me over it. And I worked really hard, in physical therapy all day, every day. And then when I finally recovered, it had been many years, and I had recovered very well, and I have a family right now,
Hmm.
which I am very thankful for. And this was just, starting over. And to me, this was more devastating, because I was already 40 something. And so, I know how hard I worked, and I knew at the time that it would cause significant changes in my life, and I just felt like it was starting over,
Right. Right.
and it was painful too. The gunshot I didn't even feel,
Yeah.
and I just passed out, woke up in the hospital about 2 months later, and that's about my story, about
Yeah. You must have felt like I've been through enough. Now this, when you
yeah,
fell and
exactly.
broke your hip,
It's
it's
like
like enough, how much suffering, how much, am I supposed to endure? So I can totally understand that. You just get tired of being sick. You've worked hard for your recovery and then you fall and break a hip. It sounds terrible. Writing, has it been therapeutic for you? Has it helped you work through your feelings about the incident? Tell us a little bit about your writing journey.
let me see. That was pretty much like I said. It was something that I started on a project. Just a number of years. Took a number of years because basically the original file got corrupt. And when I had a chance, I had to start over. But it was, I was writing it back in 2007 when here in the United States, a lot of the soldiers were coming back with head trauma.
Right.
And so I felt, if I could help one of them, that would be fulfilling enough. I would like to have helped a lot more because, see, let me tell you, okay, when I was at the VA, I was the youngest only patient that was 18 because of the time. There was almost no other patients that were young, at least from what I saw. At the moment I wrote the book, I used to go to appointments often, right? And all I saw was little kids, 18, 25. That just, that threw me. I was like, no, it can't be. I have to help them.
Amazing. Amazing. Are you thinking about writing any other books now that you've started writing?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I have written another book. It's almost done, but I have not completed it yet. So be on the lookout for that. And I
Okay,
mean,
good.
I've written a lot more. I started. I just have a hard time finishing.
Right, right.
Because it's just, the other one I think it's like retelling the same story except from a different point of view, and I find it more interesting, more impacting. It's
Okay.
not chronological necessarily. It doesn't go into such detail, but it's more encompassing of my life.
Wonderful. Well, we will keep an eye out for that book. The book we've been focusing on today is called Lenin, a Soldier, a story of survival by Lenin Patino. It is an extraordinary account of survival, resilience, and the strength of the human spirit. Shot point blank by a fellow soldier, Lenin defied all odds, navigating life-threatening injuries and a long journey through the challenges of the veterans' healthcare system. This is a story of hope, bravery, and unwavering determination. Lenin, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight. We appreciate you sharing your story with us.
You're very welcome, Logan.
To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.